Hello, welcome to Wilson's Barbecue. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make some Texas-style smoked and brined turkey breast. So you may have seen me smoke turkey breast on this channel before, but that was a very simple Franklin barbecue style out of his book, from his YouTube videos. But since then, I've changed my process. I've added a brine. I'm going to show you how to cook turkey breast, very similar to the ones I did before, but I guarantee you much better, juicier, more flavorful, and well worth the extra effort. So I've just got a large turkey breast from my butcher here, my local butcher. I was told that it was just deboned and rolled up, so I'm hoping that it's going to be in semi-good condition when I open it up. Get this string off it. So it's not looking too bad actually. It looks very similar to the ones I get from Tom Hickson. So that's good. They've left the skin on, which we're just going to remove. You can leave it on. I prefer to take it off. And this is a perfect recipe for Christmas Day or Thanksgiving if you're in the US. And it's really not that complicated. I probably don't need to do a YouTube video on it, but a few people asked, so I'm going to do it. Any weird bits that hang off. And we've got the main turkey breast here, and then we've also got this fillet. It's like almost like a chicken tender. I might cut it off and I will cook it separately just because it's hanging on by a thread. I'm just tidying it up a little bit, try and take some of that silver skin off, or that membrane. This stuff can kind of be a little bit kind of snotty and gunky. Try and get as much of that off as you can, this kind of clear membrane gunk stuff, because what I find is if you don't take it off, the rub that you apply will start to slide off when you wrap it up, whereas if you take it off, you can wrap it up in foil and the rub generally stays on a little bit better. This stuff just kind of slides around and the rub sits on top of it. So we've got the main turkey breast here, and then we've got our little extra fillet right there. So the next thing we need to do is make a brine. So we've got our bucket here, and all we're going to do is make up a 5% salt solution brine. And to work that out, all you need to do is measure your water weight in grams, and then take 5% of that, measure that out in salt, and you've got your 5% solution. So all I'm going to do is add as much water to this bucket as I need to in order to cover the turkey breast. And I know that 1 litre of water is about 1,000 grams. So I'm going to count the number of litres that I put in here. 6. About 7 kilograms, and then just use a calculator or your brain to work out what 5% of 7 kilograms is. So for my 7,000 grams or 7 kilograms, I need 350 grams of salt. Just use the cheapest salt that you can get hold of. 350 grams of salt. Give that a real good stir. So it's all dissolved, and that is your basic 5% solution. So at this point you can add in bay leaves, orange, any aromatics that you want. I personally don't have a load of stuff with me at the moment. Got a couple of bay leaves, I'll throw those in there. Got some whole peppercorns, got a piece of garlic which I'll throw in. But broadly, what I'm trying to get out of this is just a nice, juicy, salty, well-seasoned turkey at the end of it. Just pop your turkey in. Got some crushed garlic bulbs, a couple of bay leaves, just a little stir. Pop the lid on, put this into your fridge for 24 hours. And if you don't have space for something like this in your fridge, obviously you just use a smaller container. If you don't have any space at all to brine turkey or chicken or whatever you're doing, what you can do is get something like a Yeti cooler, fill that with ice and water, leave it outside, particularly this time of year, and it's going to stay nice and cold all night, definitely for 24 hours. So you shouldn't have to take up too much fridge space. So that turkey is now in the fridge. It's going to be in there for 24 hours, like I said. You can brine yours really for however long you want. I tried 2 different brine lengths recently, 24 hours and 48 hours. And what I found was that the 48 hours kind of started to taste like salted water and lost some of that turkey flavor. So I'm going to stick with the 24 hours. That tasted really good. Through osmosis, it kept the bird really juicy, but it also imparted flavor into the center of the meat. Sometimes turkey can be a little bit bland, so this ensures that you've got a salty flavor and whatever else you put in there, like bay leaves or orange juice or whatever. Make sure that that flavor is nice and deep into the breast. So when you get in slices, it's not just the crust that's got salty, peppery flavor. So that's my 5% salinity 24-hour brine. See you tomorrow where we're going to smoke it. It has been 24 hours, the brine has done its job. We need to get the offset fired up, but first I'm going to take these out, get them seasoned up, ready to go. So these are feeling nice and firm. Just use some paper towel to help get some of that gunky stuff off. Ooh. just pat the turkey down a little bit. Don't want it too dry because we want the rub to stick, but I also don't want it to be absolutely swimming. So before we get this seasoned up, there is one thing that I want to point out, and that is the fact that turkey does have a bit of a grain texture. So as you can see here, the grain is kind of running this way, and then as you go up the thicker part of the breast, it kind of curves. It's not crazy important with turkey, but I think that it leads to a nicer presentation when you cut against the grain. So when I cut it, I kind of treat it like a brisket. On this side where the grain's running this way, I'll cut up to about halfway, and then I'll flip it and cut against the grain this way. It's really not that essential, but I really do think it leads to a nicer, cleaner, white looking turkey. Don't need to add any more salt. This is going to be plenty salty enough. Just a little bit of black pepper. That's the underside, and that's it. That's about as much seasoning as I want on mine. You could have brown sugar or garlic or anything like that. As I say, I just like black pepper. It's got the salt in it already, so that should be ready to go. So today I'm going to be using my custom 130 gallon smoky oak barbecue offset pit. And I'm going to be using the Smoky Oak Barbecue seasoned oak wood. This is really usefully delivered straight to my door, free shipping. There's a link in the description below where you can buy it. They make oak splits perfectly sized for all backyard pits. And if you need something bigger, if you've got a 250 or a 500 gallon, get in touch with them. They will definitely accommodate you. The wood is really consistent, always really well seasoned, so go check them out. So we're going to get the pit heated up, and we're going to be cooking at about 300 to 350 Fahrenheit today. So while that's cooking up, which won't take long, I'll give you a little tip on when to pull your turkey in terms of internal temperature to make sure that you get a perfectly juicy turkey breast every single time. So food safety says that we should be cooking our turkey breast or poultry up to 165 Fahrenheit, but you can achieve the same pasteurization at a lower temperature, providing you hold it at that temperature as you would do at 165. So Kenji Lopez Alt posted a useful chart, which I'll pop onto the screen now. And effectively what this is saying is that you can have a perfectly safe turkey at 135 or 145 or 150, and you get the added benefit of it still being super juicy and not overcooked and dried out. A turkey breast at 150 is significantly juicier and more tender than a turkey pulled off at 165. So what we're going to do is take the internal temperature of this turkey breast to around 145. We're going to let it carry over to 150, and then we're going to use our oven to make sure that it stays at 150 for at least 4 minutes. And that's going to kill off just as much bacteria as a turkey cooked to 165 would, but it's going to be so much juicier. I need to use up these prawns today. Real nice. So we're getting toward the end of our cook, I think, so we're going to make some clarified butter. So making clarified butter is super easy to do. So I've just got a block of unsalted butter. There is plenty of salt in the turkey breast from that brine. And we're just going to put that on a real low heat, let it melt, and the milk solid should separate. We can discard those and then use what's left, the clarified butter, to baste the turkey breast. So I'm getting ready to take this turkey off, put my oven on, and I can hold it in here if I need to keep it in the oven for that 4 minutes at 150. Right, this is probing at 145 in the thickest part. It's got a nice colour on it, so what we're going to do is just simply take it off, wrap it in foil, put it into the oven, let it carry over to about 150, and then we'll set a timer for 4 minutes. If it's held at 150 for 4 minutes, then it's good to go. Just simply going to wrap it up, and then we're going to put it into my oven, which is currently running at 150 Fahrenheit. As I say, let it carry over to 150, let it hold there for 4 minutes, and we will be good to go. Right, so this has just come out of my oven. I was temping it very frequently. When the thickest part got to 150 Fahrenheit, I set a timer for 4 minutes. I came back, checked it, it was at 152. So I know that it's definitely safe to eat, and it should be super juicy. I'm just gonna let it cool down for maybe half an hour, and then we'll slice into it. Right, so this has been resting for about half an hour. Let's open it up and slice it. really annoying. Right, so as I said earlier, the grain kind of comes up straight and then it starts to curve around. So we're gonna cut it up to about halfway. Probably not gonna cut it all right now because we're not gonna eat it all right now, but we'll start to cut it this way when we get to the thicker parts. So let's just cut some slices. Right, so let's try some. Ooh, real nice and moist. Let's give it a try. The level of salt, that 5% salinity, 24-hour brine is perfect. You really get a kind of saltiness and kind of flavour, good flavour coming through in the centre of the meat, and it's really, really worth the effort. You get flavour all the way through, perfect amount of salt. So I'm not going to cut the rest of it up, but as I say, I would definitely get to about halfway with most of these breasts and start to cut this way. But I think that's pretty good for now. We're going to have some of this for dinner, have it with some potatoes and some veg, and definitely give it a go. Give this recipe a try. Subscribe, like, comment, do all those things. It really helps me out, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for another video.